Welcome to the Crone Stories. I'm Karen. This is a podcast for women in the middle of their lives, and each episode is one woman's story told with care. Before we begin, two small things. If you have not followed the show yet, please do that now, wherever you're listening. It's the one thing that helps these stories find the women who need them. I'm also gathering stories for season 2 right now. If you are somewhere inside your own becoming, or you know a woman who is, I would love to hear from you. You can find me at KarenAmy.com or check out the form in the show notes. And now, this is one of those stories. Welcome to the Crone Stories. Before I begin our episode today, I just want to let you know that our storytelling has asked for anonymity. So the names that I will be using are Lucy and Desi for our characters. This is a real woman's story. But what I have always wanted was for people to be able to speak authentically. And because of that, I have offered any kind of anonymity that anyone would want. And this is one of those stories. Before I bring you today's story, I want to tell you something. If you have ever pulled back from someone in your own family, or gone quiet, or stopped showing up at the house you grew up in, you are not the only one. Not even close. A researcher at Cornell spent years studying family estrangement. And what he found is that 1 in 4 of us is living with one right now. 1 in 4. He called it a problem hiding in plain sight because almost nobody talks about it. We carry it like it is a private shame, like ours is the only family that could not hold it together. And meanwhile, the woman next to us at the coffee shop may be carrying one too. And here's the part I want you to hear. The research says these choices are almost never casual. Nobody throws away a family lightly. People arrive at this usually after decades at a line they just cannot keep crossing. There is something else that happens to many of us in this season of life. The patterns that carried us for decades, the smoothing things over, the keeping of everyone else's peace starts to fray. The energy it takes to keep performing simply stops being available. What once felt like generosity starts to feel like self-abandonment. People will tell you that it's a symptom, that it's hormones, that we get difficult at this age. I would offer another way of seeing it. Maybe this is the season the performing was always going to end. Maybe the woman who spent 50 years keeping things smooth finally has the clarity and the tiredness and the self-respect to ask what all that smoothing has cost her. I will call today's woman Lucy. That's not her name, and that is on purpose. She asked to stay unknown, and I'm honoring that. Everything else you are about to hear is true. This is her story, told in my voice, shaped from the conversation we had and read back to her before anyone else heard it. And here is how it went. It was good to sit with Lucy. I've known her for a long time. There was a season when I was her reflexologist. There was another season when she did my accounting for me and got me out of more than one financial corner next to nothing. And she did the work that she did for me with grace. We've known each other through many ups and downs and different shapes in our lives. On the day we sat down, she was in Colombia, where she and her husband, Desi, were spending about half of the year. They are retired. They have made a life there. I caught her on the way back from Spanish class. First thing she said to me when she came on the call was an apology for being a few minutes late. Her brain, she said, was a little foggy from the lesson. The second thing she said was that she was dreading going back to Canada the following week. She was frightened, in her own words, how cold it was going to be. When Lucy filled out her form for this, she said she wanted to talk about setting boundaries with her aging parents, what that looks like, what it costs, and what it makes possible. I want to say something before we go any further, because I think a lot of women listening will recognize themselves in what is coming. This is not a story about a single dramatic event. This is a story about what it is to have spent decades quietly accepting the things in order to keep the peace. And to arrive at the season in your life where the peace you have been keeping is no longer worth what it is costing you. And to choose differently. Not because someone told you to, but because you finally just got tired enough. That is where Lucy is. That is what we sat down to talk about. Lucy's parents were 18 years old when they had her. She was the oldest. She has a younger brother, and her father worked at the shipyards. He went away to work on the pipeline for a few years and then came back to the yard. And when the yard closed, he went to school for carpentry and started his own business. He was physically away for only a few of those years, but he was emotionally away for most of Lucy's growing up, which meant that geographically and otherwise, Lucy was the one closest at hand. She was the one her parents called. She was the one who knew about the doctor's appointments. She was the one in charge of keeping things smooth. Her brother, to be the baby. Her brother could do no wrong. Lucy, by her own account, has always been at fault for everything for her parents. There was also the teasing. She mentioned it once in passing, the way a woman mentions something she has done a great deal of work on and is not afraid of, but is not quite finished with either. She grew up with a particular kind of teasing inside her family and had built kind of negative self-talk inside of her. She did not stay there long when she said it, but she said it. And it matters because the woman she would eventually become had to climb out of that voice in her own head first before she could climb out of anything else. Her father has had a particular kind of bad behavior her whole life. Pattern is that he pitches a toddler fit, and everybody around him just lets the toddler have his fit, and they all just carry on. Nothing gets named, nothing gets discussed. The fit happens, the air clears, and they go back to pretending. Lucy has been the peacekeeper in that family for as long as she can remember. The one who absorbed it, the one who smoothed it over. The oldest daughter doing the work that no one ever asked her to do out loud, but that everyone counted on her to do anyway. And then there's Desi. Lucy met Desi when she was 17. She knew almost immediately what she was and what she was not going to put up with in a life partner. She told me about a boy she had dated briefly before Desi and how she ended it because of something he did. That is never going to happen in my life, she said. She's been with Desi for 40 years. There is comfort in her 40-year marriage. For a girl whose father had been hurting her whole life, a girl whose negative self-talk was loud enough to name out loud decades later. A girl who somehow at 17 knew exactly what she would and would not accept from a man who chose right the first time and held it. Almost 4 years ago in June, Lucy made a decision. She had been noticing things in her mother, the repeating, the same story told twice on one phone call. Her brother had noticed it too. There is a family history of dementia on her mother's side. Nothing diagnosed, but the signs were there. So Lucy did what Lucy does. She brought it forward. She went to see her father in person because she thought a conversation like this deserved that. She told him what she had been seeing. He said yes, that he had been seeing it too. And then he said, well, you're going to need to talk to your mom about that. And Lucy said, okay. She waited until August, until their family was all together for her niece's wedding. She did not want to ambush her mother. She wanted to find a moment that was natural and quiet and alone. She wanted to come at it gently because she was coming at it out of love. The wedding weekend was beautiful. Wednesday, they arrived. Thursday and Friday were good. On Friday morning, Lucy found her opening. She sat with her mother and gently named what she had been noticing. And her mother said, oh, yeah, your dad told me you think I'm going crazy. Lucy said, no, Mom, that's not what I said. I just said that you've been repeating yourself, that you sometimes tell me the same thing 3 times in one phone call. And her mother said, I'm fine. I just sometimes forget who I've told things to. I'm fine. And Lucy, who had planned this conversation, who had gone to her father in June to set it up, who had waited 2 months for the right moment, said, well, okay. A lot of it can be prevented or curbed if you talk to a doctor. And her mother said again, I'm fine. Lucy let it go. She had done what she had came to do. Saturday was the wedding itself, which was so wonderful. And Sunday they stayed on. It was the Sunday night of that weekend that the fracture came. Lucy and her father had a moment alone. Quietly, she said, I can't believe you told Mom I think she's going crazy. And her father, in her exact words, instantly went vicious. He said, now you're starting to piss me off. And Lucy, who is 57 years old, who has built a career and raised 2 sons, held a marriage together for 4 decades, went straight back into being a small child in trouble with her daddy. She froze. And then she went into the kitchen and cried. Her mother followed her in. What just happened? Lucy said, I have no clue. I have no clue. They all came back together and sat down and ate what Lucy called the most awkward dinner possible. Nobody spoke about it. Of course, nobody spoke about it. That's not what this family does. And then, because this is how this family has always worked, her father went downstairs to play pool. Desi caught Lucy's eye on the way out the door. The look held. He went down because that's what you do at someone else's house on a Sunday night. But his loyalty did not go with him. It stayed with her in the kitchen. Lucy and her mother sat upstairs. Her mother said, what happened? And Lucy said, he's just mean. He's always just being mean. In the morning, Lucy and Desi packed up and left. Her father did not come up to say goodbye. He did not acknowledge that they had been there at all. Lucy got in the car and said, I don't even know what the hell I did wrong. That night, back at home, Lucy texted her father. She gave him an out. She wondered in writing if maybe he had not heard her properly. He had hearing issues. He'd always denied having them, but maybe that's what happened. He didn't reply. 2 days later, she texted him again, and this time he answered, I saw it. I'm just sick of you going on and on about stuff. I just don't want to discuss it anymore. You're pissing me off. And in that moment, something shifted in her. And she wrote back, I'm not apologizing to you. In fact, you owe me an apology. And until that, I will not be coming back to your house. And when mom becomes upset because I'm not visiting, that's on you. And you need to answer to it. Then she took screenshots of the entire exchange. She sent them to her mother. And she wrote one line underneath. This is where we're at. Her mother wrote back, we'll talk about this later. And Karen, she said to me, never once has it been brought up again. That was almost 4 years ago. In 4 years, no one has named it. Her father has not apologized. Her mother has not asked. They've all gone on as if nothing happened, which is the same way they have gone on after everything else that ever happened in that family. The pile under the rug just got taller by one more thing. Her mother phones occasionally. Conversations are surface. On Mother's Day this year, Lucy called her mother. After a minute or two, her mother said, oh, here, I have to go do something. Talk to your dad, and handed the phone over. Lucy and her father sat on either end of the phone line trying to find something to say. You good? Said one of them, and the call ended. Twice in nearly 4 years, Lucy has been to her parents' house. Both times, she stayed outside on their front porch. She went in to use the bathroom. She stayed maybe an hour, and then she left. She has not slept in that house since the wedding weekend. I asked Lucy about the cost. I asked her about the grief. I asked her whether she was carrying anything around the loss of the relationship she might have hoped for with her parents. She thought about it for a long time, and then she said, no, not really. She said, everyone tells me, but they're your parents, and I'm their daughter, and they're not willing to adjust. She said quite boldly, I don't fucking deserve this. I need to spend my time and energy around the people who actually want to spend time and energy with me. Then she told me about the people in Colombia, about her friends down there who, when she comes back to Canada for 3 months in the summer, text her to ask if she really has to be gone that long. People who say, just visit everyone in 2 weeks and then come back here where we want you. Then she said something really important and really poignant. I feel like I'm accepted for who I am. I don't feel like I've ever been accepted for who I am in my own family. There are women who go their whole lives without ever saying that sentence out loud. Something has rebuilt itself inside of Lucy over these last 4 years, and the shape of it is specific. It looks like saying no to a bowling invitation without explaining why. Someone asked her Tuesday or Wednesday, and she said, no, thank you. She did not list her reasons. She did not preface it with an apology. She just said no. She has learned that no is a complete sentence, and the world did not end when she says it. It looks like an internal dialogue that is, in her own words, a lot stronger and healthier than it has ever been. The negative self-talk that grew up beside her as a child, the one she has been carrying her whole life, has quieted. Not gone, quieted. She does not let people tease her anymore. She names it. Desi would prefer that they go fully no contact. He has been her spine for 40 years. She told me that if she ever did have to be in her parents' house again, she would be able to catch his eye and find her own spine in his. My spine is with me. He's right there. I've got this. That's how she described it. And the way it looks is that they only land on the front porch, and only twice in 4 years. No further. The boundary is the porch. Near the end of our hour, I asked Lucy something I'd been wondering since the beginning. Do you think that your father not being a kind man and not being safe might be the thing that taught you at 17 exactly what you would and would not accept in a partner? She went quiet for a beat and then she said, yeah, probably. What I would not accept in a life partner, I knew from a very young age what I was not willing to put up with. And I said, that might just be the gift. And she said it back to me slowly as if she was trying it on. There's his gift. It landed for her and it landed for me. Her father is still her father. The pile under the rug is still taller than her. The apology she is owed has still not come and probably will not. But the gift she pulled out of him before she was even old enough to know what she was doing is 40 years long. It is the man she has been beside her whole adult life. It is the 2 sons who got a different father than what she got. She did not know that she was excavating that gift all those years ago. She was just a girl deciding what she was not going to live with. I asked her what she would say to a woman listening to this who knows she needs a boundary inside of her own family, but is terrified of what it will cost her. Trust your gut, she said. Trust yourself. When you are feeling that this just isn't a good environment to be in and you need to pull back, trust that. Because a lot of times we put ourselves in harm's way mentally, maybe not physically, but in harm's way because it's family. And then blood doesn't necessarily make you close. If the way they act and talk to you doesn't show that closeness, chosen friends, chosen family will treat you with respect and love. They will not push toxicity on you because we're family. I asked Lucy one more thing. Whether she thought in any part of him her father knew what the silence had cost. She thought for a moment. I hope so. I think it's grating on him. He'll never say it out loud, but last December, my sister-in-law told me my father had been talking about me at dinner, about how proud he was, about what I've done with my career. And Lucy said to her sister-in-law, I'm sorry, were you with the same man I call my father? She said it laughing, but underneath the laugh was something else. Something that had been waiting 40 years to hear that sentence said out loud, even at a dinner she was not at. So maybe he knows. Maybe he does not. I asked Lucy if there was anything she wanted to touch on that we had not talked about. And she thought for a moment. And she said, giving ourselves grace as parents, as daughters, as women, to realize that our mistakes are mostly what we inherited. I'm never going to be afraid to say I'm sorry to my kids. I'm never going to be afraid to say that was wrong. And let's talk about that, because not talking about it causes the bigger rifts. And then she said, imagine that water dripping down on a rock, everything slowly eroding away. Be willing to put in that fence to stop the erosion and not just let it go. And Lucy put in her fence. Thank you, Lucy, for spending time with me so that I could bring your story forward. Lucy chose to stay anonymous, so our 3 questions were actually done by email. and I will read those to you now. Here are her responses to the 3 questions that I've asked. What was it like to hear your story told back to you? It caused a bit of pressure in my chest to see it written down. And I was surprised by some of your takeaways. Not in a bad way. It's always interesting to have an opportunity to see yourself through others' eyes. And I pushed back a little bit to get a little more detail. She said, the biggest surprise is that you make me sound all grown up and smart. I do still suffer a bit with the negative self-talk, but I'm getting better around that. Honestly, the majority of that is around my weight, my body, and the teasing my whole life. I hate that residue. And noted that it seems like women everywhere are beating themselves up about the same thing. And hopefully that's shifting in society. It's also great that nobody in Colombia seems to have that hang up. Wear what you want seems to be the approach. What might be alive in you right now? Anxiety about getting my house purged. Will I be able to do it? Will it take a lot of time? The house is small and I have way too much crap. And number 3, what do I want her to know? A woman that might be a couple of steps behind you. Keep going. Yes, it's tough, but we can only eat an elephant one bite at a time. Just as I am feeling anxious about the clutter, I need to remind myself of this on the regular. I will get there. Thank you for sharing everything with me. Before I let you go, stay with me for one small piece. I call it the sitting. A few quiet minutes to carry something with you. The thing I keep from Lucy's story is not the fracture, and it's not the silence that came after, it is the fence. The moment a woman who has spent her whole life absorbing things finally decided where the line was and put something there to hold it. That is what we will sit with today, where a crossed line lives in the body and what it looks like from higher up. Find a comfortable place. You do not need to do anything but listen. Find a way to be comfortable wherever you are. If you're driving, keep your eyes soft and open and just let the words wash through. If you can close your eyes, close them now. Take a breath in through your nose and let it slowly fall out through your mouth. Again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more, and this time as you breathe out, let your shoulders come down from wherever they have been holding. I want to ask your body a question, not your mind. Your mind will want to answer first because it always does. Let it settle. We are asking the body. Somewhere in your life, there may be a place where a line gets crossed. Maybe often, maybe by someone you love. You do not have to name it. You do not have to picture their face. Just let your body remember what it feels like when it happens. Where does it land? For many of us, there's a tightening. Maybe in the chest. Maybe the stomach drops or the throat closes a little. maybe the jaw, maybe the hands. If you find it, you do not need to fix it or breathe it away. Just put your tension gently there. Maybe put your hand on that space, like the comfort from someone you love. That feeling has been trying to tell you something, maybe for years, maybe for decades. It is not a weakness. It is not oversensitivity. It is information. Your body has always known where the line is. Even in the years when you talked yourself out of it. Even in the years when you swept it under the rug. The body felt it. Thank it for that. Silently, in whatever words are yours. Thank it for keeping the record. I want to invite you to do something with me. We are going to rise. Imagine you can lift up and out of this moment. Up out of the tight chest, the closed throat. Up above the room you are in. Up above the house, the street, the town. High enough that you can see your whole life laid out below like a landscape. From up here, things look different. From up here, you can see the pattern. Not the single moment where the line got crossed, but all of them. Laid out across the years like a river cutting through rock. You can see how long the water has been running. You can see what has been worn away. And here's what else you can see. The water was never going to stop on its own. Water does what water does. It's not personal. It's just persistent. So the question from up here was never about the water. The question is about the fence. From this high place, look down at your landscape and ask, where does the fence want to go? Not a wall, not a fortress, a fence. Something that says this far. Something that can have a gate in it if you choose. Maybe a porch where love can still visit. You do not have to build it today. And you do not need to know how. Just see where it wants to go. Let the knowing be enough for now. And notice from up here, one more thing. The woman who needs that fence. The woman standing there in the landscape of your own life. She's not asking for permission. She stopped needing permission. She is only asking you to trust her. She's earned that. She's kept the record all these years. She's earned your trust. Take a breath in and another. Exhale and let go. Breathing in and letting go with every exhale as you begin to come back down through the sky, down the street, down to the room and into your own body, sitting exactly where you left. Notice the place where the tightness lived. It may still be there, and that's fine. You are not leaving this sitting fixed, you are leaving it in form. Your body knows where the line is. You know where the fence goes. And when you are ready, you will put it in. Come back and feel the breath enter your body, filling you up. And on the exhale, letting go. Begin to wiggle your fingers and sense your body in the room. Open your eyes if they were closed. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. If today's story moved you, send it to one woman you can name. That is what helps these stories find the women who need them. I will be back with another woman and another story in a couple of weeks. Until then, in love, light, and laughter.